today don't know what a strike is. When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on up here? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. In today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means.
Welcome back. We are days away from a potential strike by 45,000 dock workers at more than 24 ports along the east and Gulf coasts. Negotiations remain at a standstill with half of the nation's cargo in limbo. Trucking companies are scrambling to move products off ships before things potentially grind to a halt on Tuesday. And now major shipping companies say they will be slapping a port disruption surcharge on all cargo coming to or from these terminals if a strike does go through. Joining me now is American Trucking Association's president and CEO, Chris Spear. Chris, great to have you. Thanks very much for being here. What's your reaction to this, and where do you think this is going?
Well, Maria, thanks for having me. I think the impact, if this strike occurs next Tuesday, is going to be significant, not just on the economy, but Americans, everybody that's in need of goods each day are going to feel the impact that this is going to have. We're talking 36 ports in the East and Gulf Coast that are represented here. 5 of the top 10 in the country are going to shut down on Tuesday. We're moving 12,000 trucks daily at Port of New York, New Jersey. This is very significant, especially on farmers. We're talking nearly half of the goods exported out of our ports come from these East Coast ports. We're talking produce, poultry, cotton. This is very significant on our farmers. That produce is going to be felt first in week 1 if this were to occur. People are going to have limited choice and they're going to pay a lot more for it. So I appreciate your paying attention to this because it's coming.
Well, this is a great point that you're making. So produce gets hit first. And I was thinking that the real impact would be inflationary because obviously the supply-demand dynamics leads to higher prices for things. We're just trying to get inflation down, and perhaps we see another spike as a result of this.
Absolutely, and trucks are the glue in all of this. Whether you move it on truck or rail, trucks are still going to move that last mile. And we're talking, large companies, but also the medium and small companies, independent contractors, owner-operators. They're going to get hung out to dry if these ports shut. So beyond the 85,000 ILA workers, we're talking thousands of other workers that support the supply chain. It's going to take a long time after a week to 2 weeks of shutdown for the economy to recover. So inflation is definitely an outcome from this.
Yeah, so if the truckers take on more load, doesn't that mean we see an impact to gasoline prices? I mean, oil prices have come off of the highs in the last couple of months. Does that reverse?
Absolutely. I think you're going to see repercussions that are going to last. So every week is about a month, 2-3 weeks, push out into a quarter to 2 quarters. You could see this spilling well into 2025. Having real repercussions. If the longer it plays out, the more impact you're going to have. So 36 ports, East Coast, Gulf Coast, this is very significant to the American economy. You can't reroute all this through the West Coast. So shutting down for terms and conditions that are completely out of reach, 70% pay increase, that's what the ILA is asking for. I think you and I would love a 70% pay increase, but that's not reality. So they need to come to the table, they need to get reasonable, and they need to get a deal.
Well, the last time the Biden-Harris administration got involved in the strike negotiations, the workers got what they wanted. So I wonder where this goes. I mean, obviously the timing was on purpose, intentional timing right before the election. I'm wondering if, in fact, you do see Biden or Harris intervene here and perhaps give the workers what they want. How does this play out?
Well, if they're consistent, they're not going to come to the table. They haven't yet, and we're 5 days out. So this is really significant in terms of leadership. We've got a president, vice president, and an acting secretary of labor that have walked a picket line for the UAW. They are already in the pocket of big union bosses, and they've stated that. So if you're USMX representing the 36 ports, you have no incentive to come to the table if it's led by this administration, because they've already shown their cards. They're already in the pocket of labor. So there's no way that you can mediate with credibility. That's not leadership. We need it. We need it now.
That's a great point. Chris, real quick before you go, what is your assessment of the economic situation today, and how does that worsen should a strike happen?
Well, I think week over week is how you measure this. I was involved in the Taft-Hartley in 2002 when the West Coast port shut down for nearly 2 weeks, and we measured in advance the impact that shutdown was going to have week over week. So when I say a week equals a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks equal a quarter, you could see this spill well into 2025. The ramifications, not just to the supply chain, including trucking, but the entire economy. Choice will be limited and prices are going to be higher. So that's not good news going into an election, going into the holidays. This administration needs to get to the table and broker a deal right now.
Wow. All right, Chris, great information from you, and we so appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria.
In today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you.
On today's episode of What's Going On with Shipping, will the ILA strike on October 1st? I am your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to today's episode, and you just heard Harold Daggett, the president of the International Longshoremen's Association, in what is entitled A Candid Conversation. I cannot imagine an uncandid conversation with Harold Daggett, but that's the candid one, where President Daggett talked about whether or not his men will go, and women, will go on strike on October 1st. And
yeah, America's fucked. And America is fucked. And America is fucked. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22. 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. That means Costco, Sam's Wholesale Club, Walmart, Kroger, all of your convenience stores. Hyperinflation jumps off. Gas prices are going to jump anywhere between 5, 10, 15, sometimes in some states, maybe even $20 a fucking gallon. Okay? Per gallon of gasoline because of this strike. The full storehouses, right? They're full right now. After Tuesday of next week, okay? 2 weeks in, everything this video has just been talking about is going to jump the fuck off. Nothing can be done about it. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Right? Verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, the keepers of the house, right? Presidents, vice presidents. The house is the house of mourning, where the children of Israel dwell, right? Which is Babylon the Great. America shall tremble. Yeah, they're starting to tremble, right? As you can see. And the strong men shall bow themselves, right? So the strong men are bowing themselves. They're bowing out gracefully. Don't want to pay the wages. They're going on strike. And the grinders cease, right? Now you just heard the supply chain is going to be affected greatly. There's going to be a lot more major layoffs. Okay, this is going to bring civil unrest, national emergency, and possibly martial law. Because they are few, right? So the man said there's going to go from 30 moves an hour to 8. So that means, by presidential decree on the Taft-Hartley thing. I don't know what that is. I think that's an agreement that they made back in 2002, like the man said, for them to go back to work, where it's a law that they have to go back to work for 90 days. They're not going to work very much. Everything's going to starve to death, right? Those that look out the windows be darkened, okay? And the windows are the windows of the future. Won't be able to see much of a future at all in America. There's going to be more and more homeless people. All of this shit here is going to multiply, right? And the doors shall be shut in the streets, right? Martial law. When the sound of the grinding is low, right? People getting laid off. He shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Right? Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and they're afraid of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. There was a video that I'm going to put up on this channel too, and backup, concerning the unidentified aerial phenomenon that they're afraid of, that's going to show up next week as well. Right? The area phenomena that they're afraid of is the chariots of the Most High God, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Like it says in Psalm 68 and 17, the chariots of the Lord are 20,000, even thousands of angels, and the Lord, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place, which are in the skies above us. Right? And fears shall be in the way. Right? And the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden. Right? Now the grasshopper is a burden now. It's going to be a burden. Is it not like some of the plagues of Egypt coming back to attack America's farmland? Right? And desire shall fail. Right? Because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Right? So, remember him before you become fearful of falling. In Ecclesiastes 12 and 5 NLT. Remember him before you become fearful of falling and worry about danger in the streets. Before your hair turns white like an almond tree in bloom, and you drag along without energy like a dying grasshopper, and the caperberry no longer inspires sexual desire. Remember him before you near the grave, your everlasting home, and the mourners will weep at your funeral. See? Verse 4. Remember him before the door to life's opportunities is closed, and the sound of work fades. Now you rise at the first chirping of the birds, but then all their sounds will grow faint. Right? Verse 3. Remember him before your legs, the guards of your house, start to tremble. Before your shoulders, the strong men stoop. Remember him before your teeth, for your few remaining servants stop grinding. And before your eyes, the women looking through the windows see dimly. Right? I mean, this shit is right on point, man. What the hell? Yeah. Yep, definitely. Yep, definitely. So, I just wanted to let you know, man. Yep, the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is almost here. Okay, let's go into what was that local scripture? It popped in my head and then it jumped right back out again. I don't know if I can remember what it is. I think. All right, Salakia. Right? Okay, let's just start here. Matthew 24, verse 4. And Yahushua answered unto them and said, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And you got that already all over the internet. You had some goddamn asshole get on the internet talking about what was he say? He's Elijah the prophet. Some ridiculously stupid bullshit like that, saying that he's Elijah the prophet, and saying he's King Manasseh. You can't be King Manasseh of Israel and Elijah the prophet. One was a righteous man and the other one was wicked as fuck. Which one are you? Right? Then he says he's Elias. Okay? I'm like, man, come on, man. Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall delete you, and you shall be hated for of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. All these things are happening. Okay? They're happening. And the apostles and elders of Great Millstone are reporting on this every day. Verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You see on the news, a man destroying his entire family and then destroying himself. Police officers being destroyed on the job deliberately. Gangbangers walking up at gunpoint and robbing people at gunpoint, stealing their cars. They're watching videos of that. Women are deleting their own children. Okay? I've seen a news clipping, I think it was yesterday while I was at work, of a Latino woman got into an argument with her sister about wages of babysitting because she got laid off, and it was a 4-year-old little girl that got stabbed several times in the head and in the chest and in the neck. Okay, 4 years old. Okay, her niece, she stabbed her niece that many times, man. It's in the news. You can look it up yourself. Matthew 24 and 13, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And that's what the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and other righteous men, standing in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted them, that make no account of their labor. Right? And their labor is preaching the gospel of the kingdom of God in all the world as a witness unto all nations, right? Salakia. Matthew 24, my point, verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So, anyway, not a big deal. I just wanted to, the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it, and there's nothing he could do about it, So, all praises to the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Shalom.